wonder, how do you prepare for a yoga video? Do you have like a script, or do you rehearse, or is it all improvisation?
It's a great question. Well, it's definitely changed over the years. So in the beginning, I would have all of my notes, just as I would as a young teacher. I would go to my classes and also shoot the videos with all of my notes, kind of try to memorize the script, very similar to how I would in my acting job back then. And then I quickly learned that no matter how much you prepare, particularly for a live class, public class, it's always going to change. And so I started to embrace that and really learned that no matter, what, it was always going to change, because you could have something prepared for all back bends, and then 3 people come in with back injuries and you can't do that anymore. So I already had some practice kind of working on the fly for the live classes, but when I started the videos, I very much went by all of my notes. Now I've been doing it so long that I have a really different method from live class to video. And I'll often have a focus either on a theme or an anatomical specific focus, and then I'll build from that. So I'll have a specific warm-up, a specific main posture, and then something that I'm working towards. Nowadays, a lot of the videos that I do are requests, so they are kind of prepared for and specific. But then, as you probably can tell, there are definite moments in all of my practices, no matter where I'm teaching on video or in real life, where I'm improvising and trying to anticipate what the person is feeling before they press pause or quit, and try to meet them there.
So there would be like, if there's a 20-minute video, how much time in real life would that take to do?
Good question. It depends on, I think, the topic. So if it's really specific to, say, like neck and shoulders, then it would take me, 15 minutes over a tea to map that out. Some of the series I do on the membership, for instance, I spend a month designing. And then our 30 days of yoga is something that I pretty much put the 30 days of yoga out in January, and then I spend all year thinking about the next 30 days. So,
and how did it all, do you remember like the first step when it all started? Who pushed who with your, because you have your photographer, Chris?
Yes, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Could you take us back to that first, how did you talk about it? Was it like you came up with the idea and he started filming, or how did it work out?
So the actual YouTube yoga channel was Chris's idea. I had already been teaching at the time, and we had worked together on a film. He had co-written and directed a film that I was in, and we knew we loved working together. And he had already created a successful YouTube channel with his now wife, my dear friend Hyla Johnson, and it was a cooking channel on YouTube. And it had done really well, so he wanted to create another channel and put all of the things that he had learned, again to the test, which is very much a blessing and really lucky for me, because I began my channel with all of their knowledge from the cooking channel. So it was very generous of them. However, we're a team, we're a family now, so we're one big team. So it's all.
And were you, if you have like, what was the most important thing in the beginning was it to be consistent and really putting up one video a week, or what was the important thing to, keep it together and really go through with the idea?
Yes, there were really 2 main important things. One of them you already nailed, and that was consistency. Because of Chris's now really extensive, but even then he had good intuition and is a really smart man. Because of his wisdom on the YouTube front, we knew that to have a healthy YouTube channel and to have a successful algorithm, we needed to be consistent. But then the other thing, and this took some working towards, particularly on my part, was to not try to put on a yoga channel or put on a fitness channel, but to really speak from a true place, and allow people to feel as though we were just doing yoga together in our living rooms as friends. So on the one hand, I have to know my stuff, but on the other hand, we worked really hard to not necessarily set up this expert role, but rather just we're at home together doing yoga, and it should be fun. And you know, for me, I know like this is a little bit of a stretch, but I don't think so. For me, that is yoga too, because it's easier to just do what you're told. But it's one thing to go, how do I feel? And then respond to that. Like that's the yoga to me. You know?
Exactly.
So cool.
And I think that's genius that you have, like, it's really, really clear how what's this session about is really about graphics and telling, like, this is for the neck, this is for the knee, this is for heartbreak. And I think that's genius, because you're not no person is a robot.
Yes.
Just feeling exact the same way
every day.
No.
Yes, I always say that. Well, it's not like original quote of mine, but I love to remind myself and others that the only constant is change. We're in a constant state of flow, so our practice should support that.
Exactly. So my interest is also, what is the hard part? Because I understand the passion and everything about that, but what is the challenges? Where do you have to be really disciplined, and the hard part? What is that? Because it's not only to be on the mat. It's so much stuff around to keep up with. I mean, people must want a lot from you, and how do you keep finding what's true for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good question. As you can hear, I'm a little bit under the weather, and because I'm under the weather right now, I'm having to really go, we really all, even the best of us, before we started rolling, or earlier I was saying that it's very hard for me to be sick because I just want to be this graceful example of ease and generosity and cool, and want to be of service to others. But yeah, I thought I had already learned this lesson on this journey, but I'm obviously reminded that I'm going to continue to have this experience over and over again, and that is specifically that we have to take care of ourselves first. It's like you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and
not ask too much from you when you need something.
Yes, and to really, work more on preventative care. And that's a big one for me. So it's like, yeah, I can physically do all the things on the calendar, but how am I going to feel? What kind of presence am I going to bring and focus am I going to bring to each of those things if I'm kind of burnt out? Or, but specifically regarding the people and the energy, I really have some really great people in my life who've kind of taught me. Like, I'm thinking of my friend back home who's a Chinese doctor. She's an acupuncturist. She's kind of taught me little tricks to kind of protect my energy and make it so I can be really present with everyone, but also, take care of myself. It's important.
That's really important, because if you give a lot, it could feel like you get drained. Just drink.
I'm like, I didn't take medicine because I was teaching, but now I need to take it.
But do you need to take it now? So
I think I'm good.
Okay. So important also to talk about that what you see in a picture and Instagram and all that is not all just that,
And I really, truly try to strike a really nice balance between sharing a really honest story and also being graceful.
Yeah.
Like, I often don't like to post when I'm sick because then I just get everyone's sympathy, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really mean for everyone to give me but it's also me just learning to ask for help and also grow my practice and my business in a way where it's not so bottlenecked on me. I'm wanting to invite some guest artists and guest teachers onto the membership. We've already invited one, my friend Ray, and creatively build more programs that involve other people so that I can explore other things too. I want to write a book. I have 5 episodes of a podcast in my back pocket that I want to release someday, and I also really want to keep learning. If I'm constantly going at the same things, it's just like in our practice. We tend to practice the things that we're good at and avoid the things that we're not good at. So I want to keep learning too.
And do you have a routine for keeping close to your core and close to your heart, like a morning routine or an evening routine?
Well, right now the routine is just to take some time each day for myself, and it can come in any way, shape, or form. So it could come as a dog walk, or a run, yoga. Attractive. So right now I try to just do one thing a day that is just for me and not for work. And because I love what I do, it's really hard to turn off that, because I feel like I can always be contributing in some way, shape, or form or another to the business or to the practice or to the kula, the community. So I try to do one thing a day where I go offline and I either walk the dog or run or do yoga. And I think it's important for everyone to remember that it doesn't take a lot. 5 minutes, 20 minutes. It can really, really change everything, your chemical makeup. So after this, we're in Stockholm now, but after this we head off on our big tour, and that's my main goal, is to every day do something that's not tour related or email related or even kula related, but something that's just for me, whether it's me listening to a podcast or meditating or so.
How can we through yoga change the world?
Well, yoga is the journey to the self. And okay, on paper that sounds like, yeah, that sounds good. But even if you've only been on the mat once, most people, almost everyone, will have a moment where they feel themselves. And they could get bad information or hurtful information, or good information, but they feel themselves and they have this moment almost of joy where they're like, oh my God, there I am. Like we were when we were kids, closer to ourselves, babies, all up in themselves. So it's my thought, dream, aspiration that we use the tools of yoga to constantly repeat the practice of knowing thyself. And by knowing and loving and accepting ourselves, we have more of a fighting chance, a beautiful fighting chance of really looking and seeing someone for who they really are and knowing their truth, accepting that, and loving them too.
There would be less wars. If you would recommend the President of the United States to do 3 yoga poses, what would that be? What would he need?
I would like for the President, this is a great question, of the United States maybe to do any 3 poses that include namaste. So he could do any pose at all that just included maybe the hands together and the word namaste. So Mr. Trump just say namaste, namaste, namaste. And I say that because namaste is an acknowledgement that we are one. It's an acknowledgement or a toast to the fact that we're all in this together and we are equal and we are the same and we're all equally beloved and beautiful. And beyond that, it has a sense of integrity. So this is great for anyone who doesn't know what namaste is. Namaste also has a beautiful integrity to it that says, I respect you and all that you are, and I respect me, and I can respect both of us at the same time. Or more traditionally, it's that the divine in me honors the divine in you. So it'd be really nice for the President to maybe practice namaste and see what happens. And I do think that everyone can, in some way, shape, or form, embrace namaste. Maybe put it in their own words. For the kids, we say, I'm awesome, you're awesome, we're awesome.
Exactly. It's so important. Never forget, even when it's chaotic in the world or everybody's trying to blame each other, and to remember that.
Truly, and I think with yoga in general, but in particular, because of course I'm closer to this Find What Feels Good community, I feel like Yoga with Adriene through YouTube, who'd have thought, is uniting people all over the world and engaging them not just in yoga, but in conversation off the mat that would never have happened otherwise. So, and I'm reading a lot about this lately. There are so many of us who are just conversing with people who are of our like-mindedness. We're never in a situation, or rather rarely in a situation anymore, where we're conversing with people that we disagree with or that we don't share the same values with. And it's important that we not get stuck in those polarized environments. So I never would have in a million years thought in 2014 or back in 2012 that this community would ever provide such a landscape for that kind of conversation. And I find it really inspiring and really beautiful.
When you say set your intention for the day, what's the meaning of it, and how would you explain how to a child to do that?
That's so beautiful and so important. And I love this question. I would say, how do you want to feel today? And I would say, pick a word or a feeling. And I would also say, think about it for 1 second before you say it. And then think about it, close your eyes, and how do you want to feel for the rest of your day? And then we would say, I choose, and then maybe say that word.
And how would you sort of follow up on the intention, and how should what would you suggest to say to the kid to sort of check in on them? What happened with this intention?
That's why I really like the mantra or the affirmation. I choose blank, or I am peaceful. I am happy, because it's a tangible thing that every age, but kids especially, can hold on to. I am peaceful. So I would say, repeat quietly to yourself, I am peaceful, or I am bold. And with the yoga, kids yoga, I like to put the mantras into the poses. So maybe they'll be, in Warrior 2 and say, I am strong. So there's a tangible thing they can connect to. Another thing I would love to say in the beginning when I would say, how do you want to feel today? Let's set our intention of how we want to feel. I would say, okay, now imagine it already so. You already are happy. You already are excited. You already are peaceful. You already are calm. And this, of course, helps as our kids grow older. My ex-boyfriend back in America, his son just turned 16, and he's, dealing with anxiety. Truly, really, truly. And I just wish I could impart so much of the conscious languaging, that we learn later in life, but to younger. This is not ideal, I'm sorry.
No.
It's okay.
I'm so embarrassed.
No
Just
no
shows
worries.
you're human. I think that's
It's
a
so
good thing.
human. I think it's really important to show. I think
In some ways, I think it's good because this is actually the worst it's kind of been, and I think it means because it's coming up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of gross, but, But returning back to the topic of how we talk to our kids about setting intention, I think it's super important that just we talk to them, period, about the control they have over their feelings in their brain. Of course, we all lose control, but we can reel it back in with our breath and through our conscious thought.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably.
Or what's the curse word you use
the most? Yeah, probably fuck.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Next to that?
Let's see. What do I use? Probably fucking fuck.
Double fuck.
Fuckity, fuck. Just all fuck. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a great question too, because you don't really hear your yoga teacher say fuck a lot.
No.
But
If you only could eat one thing, and it could be anything. I mean, it could be like candy or Twizzlers or Twix, and you'd survive and be perfectly healthy on it. What would you eat? It's not like it's your last meal. It's just that's the only thing you get to eat all your life.
Well, my immediate gut thing, if this was like a rapid fire, I would say breakfast tacos. I can eat a breakfast taco for breakfast, for lunch, or for dinner. And it sounds kind of cute, but it is a thing in Austin. It's our precious, beloved staple. And
What's the difference between breakfast and a dinner, a normal taco?
oh, typically, I guess that you have an egg in it, which of course is not vegan. But I'm really lucky and have access to good eggs in my city. Another strange thing that I always have at the house are like pickles or cornichons. I don't host parties that much anymore because I'm kind of in a phase where I'm working on my passion projects. But particularly in the olden days when I used to have people over more, I would always have those little cornichons, those little pickles. And every once in a while I'll still buy them at the grocery just for myself.
Okay.
How on earth do you stay, this is the question you asked me, rephrased. How do you stay healthy physically and emotionally and energetically when you're having to take on so much trauma and tend to literally saving lives?
In the beginning it was hard, and I mean, as you know, many doctors turn to whatever drugs or stupid behavior and stuff like that, or just hide or become aggressive. And but nowadays, especially when it's like a sad case or someone's dying and stuff like that, I feel so confident, or I actually when you ask me the question, I think I give myself the intention on that. Actually, it's an honor to be able to help this people, even if it dies. So I'm going to help them to die in the best possible way. So it's actually, and I know now that if I'm myself and if I'm honest to everyone around me and do my best, they get the best possible care. So it's like nowadays it's an honor more than anything else to help someone die.
That's beautiful.
I think they want you.
Do they want us? That was the most gorgeous thing, and I really needed to hear that right now as I head off on my tour, to remember that that's how I feel too. And it's okay to be tired, and it's okay to have down days, but it's an honor and a privilege to get to live, first of all, but to do meaningful work, and we all are just on a search to find a meaningful contribution to society. So.
Thank you for everything you're teaching me and the world.
Thank you. Thank you for this incredible connection, both of you, and for this interview and for your wisdom and grace as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm honored.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And let's keep going.
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Now I know why we came here. Now I know when it all seems so very clear. You're making everything so complicated. The TV's on.